I was saying, assignment problems are for your practice. So I found that it is not helpful if you just uh, try to means if I give the assignments for submitting, then you are worried about marks, but you should not worry about marks here. It's just for practice. You don't have to submit to me. You can solve on your own and see the solution. Anyway, so already you know my name, Anirban Bhattacharya, and I'm taking this course as well as the CMTFE, of course. And in this course, we have students from different uh, different say courses. So MTech first year students, which means you guys are there. Apart from that, dual degree fifth year students are here. Dual degree BTech, MTech fifth year students, and many fourth year BTech students are also here. Okay, so it's an elective course for many students and quite a popular course. So many students take this course. Around 35 students may be there. And what we are going to cover in this course is, let me outline that. And the way we are going to cover it is that I will go through handwritten notes like this. So you don't have to take notes in the course. What I would suggest is that you try to understand what I am telling and try to ask as many questions as you can think of. Any doubts are there, because it's helpful for the other students also to get an idea based on the questions. So if there's a good question answer session, it is always helpful. And these handwritten notes will be uploaded in the Teams portal. Like if you go to the general section, you can see that in the file section, I have already uploaded about today's class. So there you can see the notes, and you can download from here also. Okay. So any other material, sometimes I may use some slides also. Mostly it will be notes, but one or two classes there may be slides to show you some component, actual component, photograph. So there also it will be uploaded here. So let us jump into what are the important topics for this course. Feel free to ask questions anytime in between. Okay. So there are two main types of topics that we are going to cover. In the first part of the course, we are going to focus on system level design and system level analysis. Okay. So we'll be focusing on thermodynamics of gas turbine and jet engines. So here again, it can be divided into two parts. We will start with industrial gas turbines. We will study about ideal cycles, which are like the gas turbines are based on Brayton cycle, as you already know. So the first part may be like a revision to you. We will start with Brayton cycle or gas turbine cycle. Then we will go into how to improve the performance of Brayton cycle. We will see that can be two types of additions. One, to improve the efficiency, like using regeneration. Second can be to increase the work output per unit mass flow rate of the working fluid. So that those type of additions are reheating or intercooling. Okay. We will study Brayton cycle with regeneration, reheat, and intercooling, and we will see how they change the performance. By performance, I mean the efficiency of the cycle as well as the work output per unit mass in the cycle. Okay. So all these cycles are built on uh, all these cycles. Initially, we will study based on ideal cycle, which take into account a large number of assumptions. For example, we will consider air as the working fluid, then constant Cp and Cv values, then uh, there are no losses. Everything has 100% efficiency, all the components, things like that. But obviously, in real life, there are a lot of losses. Then in real life, there is like the variation of the properties of the fluid with temperature, like Cp and Cv will change with temperature. Then the air will not remain as air, although the intake fluid is air. After combustion, it becomes the combustion products, water vapor and carbon dioxide. So that also changes the performance. So we need to see the effect of all these real life parameters or real life changes also on the cycle performance. So what we will do is we'll consider them one by one and see what is the effect of these parameters. Okay. Then we will try to plot some performance parameters like variation of efficiency or variation of work output with different design parameters. Design parameters are like inlet, means maximum temperature, compression ratio. All this will be clear later also. So if you don't understand something now, it is okay, because we will go into much more depth later on. This is just to outline the course. So what we will do is we will write small programs here. So one of the main advantages of while studying gas turbines as compared to steam turbines or thermal power plants is that for you must have studied about thermal power plants or steam power plants, okay, steam turbines. So there the working fluid is some sort of basically for steam power plants is water, but there is a phase change that is occurring. So you at some parts you have liquid water, at some parts you have vapor water vapor, and any changes that occur in any component like the turbine or in the combustion, like in the boiler, that changes the changes due to that on the properties like enthalpy needs to be calculated from tables, thermodynamic tables like steam tables. Okay, so in that sense they are much more complicated. So what we will see here is that because we can use, because we here the working fluid is always gas and we can use ideal gas laws, the calculations are much more easier. So we don't need to use any thermodynamic chart or table. We can just use the property values and the ideal gas laws, and we can write small programs to do the calculations, even when the cycles become very complicated. So even for real cycles also, we can write small programs and we can find out the efficiency variation with different parameters, things like that. So I will show you, or we will write a few programs to see the effect of these parameters and see the variation with different design parameters. And I will give you some assignment problems also. These assignments will be programming assignments, small programming assignments, so that you can submit some plots and graphs based on the effect of different parameters, okay, so that you get a better understanding. So this part will not take too much time. Then what we will do is we will go into jet propulsion cycles. Okay. Jet propulsion is the other major application of gas turbines apart from industrial gas turbines. Jet propulsion is the most important application of gas turbines, and it's very interesting also to study. So in jet propulsion, we will study different types of jet engine, their construction. Different type of jet engines are turbojet, turbofan, and turboprop, which are used for widely used for different types of aircrafts. Then there are some experimental engines which have been developed but not widely used, like ramjet and scramjet engines, pulse jet engines. So all this one by one we will take. We will see the construction and their performance. And we will also study some of the components like diffuser and nozzle. So one of the main difference between gas turbines which are used for industries, power generation, and gas turbines which are used in jet propulsion is that for industrial application, the turbine, the plant, the gas turbine is in a static condition, right? It is stationary condition. So the inlet here does not have to high velocity, and you do not need any thrust. You just need to generate power. Whereas for jet propulsion, the main idea is to generate as much power, a thrust as possible. So this thrust is generated by accelerating the flow in a nozzle. So we also need to add a nozzle to the jet engines to actually generate the thrust. So we will see what is the effect of this nozzle. Similarly, because jet engines are flying at a very high velocity, okay, so the inlet air relative to the engine comes in at a very high velocity, and hence they have a lot of kinetic energy. So how to convert that kinetic energy to enthalpy? Basically, this velocity gets converted to pressure, increase in pressure. That is done in a diffuser. So we need to also see the effect of diffuser. Then we will also briefly see the effect of other thrust augmentation devices such as afterburners. Okay. So this part will take us up to the mid-sem exam, or somewhere around this like turboprop or ramjet will take us up to the mid-semester exam. Ideally, okay, because we will be going in lot of depth in each of this. It will take some time. So after that, we will go into component design. So first part is on the cycle level analysis. Second part is on the individual components. So most of you will know that there are three important components in a gas turbine plant, okay, or a jet engine. So these components are the compressor, which is there to compress the incoming air to a high pressure. Then there is a combustion chamber where the air is combined with the fuel and combusted to generate high temperature, high enthalpy combustion products. And then there are multiple stages of turbines, which actually generates the shaft power. Okay. So each of these components we will discuss. So we'll discuss the design and performance of centrifugal compressors. There are two types of compressors, centrifugal and axial flow. At this point, even if you don't know what they are, it's fine because we will study them in depth. Then axial flow compressors, design, blade design, performance. Combustion systems. Combustion systems are very important, particularly for jet engines. Okay, so then we will study like combustion chamber design, then cooling effects, like how to cool the combustion chamber, performance parameters, like what is the effect of air fuel ratio on the combustion, what is the effect of pressure ratio on the combustion, fuels and like different fuels and how they combust. So briefly we will study, we will not go into too much mathematical details here. Generally in my courses, all my courses, I focus a lot on maths, except the CMTFE course where it is not possible to focus too much on the maths part. But for this type of courses, our main aim is to solve problems and various types of design problems based on a good understanding of the course material. So, but for this combustion systems part, it will be more like a theoretical knowledge. But it is also very important because combustion systems are very important for, particularly for jet engines. A lot of work goes on in industries. If you go to any industry, after say if you join somewhere like GE or Rolls-Royce, which have a presence in India, and creates or manufactures these jet engines, you will see that multiple teams are working on CFD analysis of the combustion, how to improve the combustion chamber design, how to improve the cooling effect in the combustion. So all these parts, it becomes a very important area. Then we will go into one of the most important topics, which is the turbines itself. So even in the gas turbines, when we are saying gas turbines, we are saying it at the system level, but there are individual turbines also, right, within the system. So we want to study their blade design, the efficiencies, the number of stages, performance characteristics, okay, of this turbine stages, and like how the velocity is related to the pressure ratio, things like that. And then we will briefly go through also maybe one very important topic, which is turbine blades. So turbine blades are very important because you know that maximum efficiency of the cycle is limited by the maximum temperature that can be attained by the cycle. And the maximum temperature in a gas turbine plant or a jet engine is the temperature that can be sustained by the first stage turbine blades. Okay, maximum temperature occurs just after the combustion chamber, just before the first stage of turbine. So if we can design turbine blades with which can sustain higher temperatures, then it will increase the efficiency of the cycle of the entire plant. Okay. So to improve the, is any questions? Otherwise, please switch off your mind. So to improve the turbine blades, that can be done using better materials like super alloy, by using better cooling techniques, so that higher temperatures can be tackled by these blades, or by using novel in manufacturing processes like directional solidification or single crystal manufacturing, single grain manufacturing. Okay, so we will just have a brief discussion. We'll not go into mathematical details, maybe half class or 1 class on this. So this will be our entire course structure. Okay, and any questions that you have on the course curriculum? You guys are still there, right? Feel free to ask questions. Okay, never hesitate to ask questions in the class. Okay, so you will see that I provide very detailed class notes. The existing students, the other students who have already taken courses with me on power plant engineering. The other students who will be there from the next class, the dual degree students and the BTech students. So generally what I have seen that in this online mode, it is more preferable prepare in advance the notes instead of trying to show and draw them on the board on the screen. It is much more fruitful to already prepare the notes, and then we can have a good discussion on the notes in the class. And because it is already prepared, you don't have to take down the notes again. So because I will be supplying you with the notes. So you just have to concentrate on the material and try to understand the material. Okay. So class notes are going to be the most important component. And if you can understand the class notes thoroughly, then that will be more like at least sufficient for getting good marks and good understanding of the course. Okay. So apart from the class notes, I will also give you certain number of assignment sheets with some problems on various topics, and I will also supply you with the solution. That also you have to do on your own. It is preferable to do so that you get a good understanding, because there are no marks for that. Don't worry about having to submit them, but try to solve them on your own. And but if you want to learn something in more detail, there are some good books. Okay. So the first book is that Gas Turbine Theory by Saravanamuthu, Cohen and Rogers. It's a good book in the sense that it gives you quite a bit of insight, but it does not have many solved problems. But it gives you quite a bit of insight, and it's not very expensive also. So the thing in this course is that I have developed the course based on different books. So you cannot just follow a single book and for the entire course, okay? Because some part is taken from some book, it is better there. Some part is better in another book. So better to follow the class notes, and wherever required, you can take a look at one of those books. Okay. So this first book is actually quite good. Then there is another book by Ganeshan on gas turbines. This book I don't like much, but it is widely used in India, many colleges, but it is somewhat derivative of the first book. So I only suggest this if you want to solve lot of problems, because it has lot of solved problems. So in that sense, it is useful that there are a lot of problems, but the way they solve the problems is not the way that we are going to solve the problems. They are taking a lot of assumptions and they are solving in a simplified way. But in our course, we will be taking more realistic problems. For example, they may assume that the air fuel ratio is not important while calculating the change in mass flow rate. But in our course, we will this will be clear later on if you don't understand right now. But what happens is that the mass flow rate is not constant. At the intake, there is a certain mass flow rate of air, but if you inject fuel, then after the combustion chamber, whatever is there, like the turbines, mass flow rate will be higher because the fuel also has a mass. Although it is much less, like maybe 2%, but still it needs to be accounted for. So this type of things also we will incorporate in our calculation, so that our calculations are much more realistic, unlike that given in these books. Okay. So the best book in this area is the third book, Aircraft Propulsion and Gas Turbine Engines by L. Syed Ahmed. However, this is a very extensive book, means it covers each of these topics in a very large depth. For example, each of these small topics here, turbojet itself is a 100-page chapter or 60-page chapter in this book. So as a result, this is not a book which can be covered in a single semester course. Okay. So it is more like a reference book. So if you want to understand something in a better way, this is the best book to follow. Their solved problems, their problems are very long, but takes into account all the design factors. Okay. But obviously, we cannot, or you cannot follow this book, everything that is given in this book, because it is so large. So you can just follow some of the parts, whatever is necessary based on what is discussed in the class. Even if you don't use this book, that is also fine, because you can understand from the class itself. But otherwise, this is quite a good book. Unfortunately, you cannot purchase this because it's very expensive. There is no Indian version for this. The other two books are very easy to purchase. They are not expensive. They are Indian versions. Then we will also cover a few topics on the thermodynamics part from the famous book, thermodynamics book by Stengel and Bowles. Stengel and Bowles is a very famous book. You must have studied, or you must know. It's one of the best books in thermodynamics. Okay, there are two very good books in thermodynamics. One is Sontag Van Wylen, okay, and Borgenake Sontag Van Wylen. Second one is by Stengel and Bowles. So some topics may be taken from here. I will let you know later on, and this is also very useful. Okay. So, but otherwise, if you just go through the class note and the solutions that I have given, that should be like problems. It should take you to a good point in this course. Some other important points, because you are new to this system. Okay, so the evaluation pattern may not be familiar to you. So the way things are done here is that when the course was taking traditional way, means in the classroom with proper exams, then we had 30% marks for the mid-semester exam, means half-yearly exam, half-semester exam. Then final end semester exam, we had 50% marks, and then 20% marks was there for teachers' assessment. So that what I used to do was to put that on attendance 5% and 15% on class tests. And I used to take 2 classes. But in this online mode, these class tests are not useful anymore. So we will not be taking class tests. But what I will do is I will give you some programming assignments, or I will give you some research to do. Means you can go through any topic of your choice in related to this area and write a report out of that, or make a few slides on that topic, so that you gain a understanding, or you know how to learn a topic in more depth outside the course curriculum. Okay, so that will be there, plus some programming assignments may be there. And class representative, we don't have to worry for now, because any message that I want to send, I will be putting up here. Okay, in the general section, you will see that like this. I will put a message. You can just check here, and very rarely it may happen that there is some emergency, like some health issues are there, or suddenly I fall ill. Still, I will try to send a message. Generally, it has never happened that I could not communicate to the students. But in case say something dramatic happens and I cannot communicate to you that I am unable to take the class, so you can just wait for 10 minutes. And if I do not join within 10 minutes, it means that I'm not going to join. I'm very particular about time. So all the classes actually will start on the exact time that is mentioned. If I do not join within 10 minutes, it means the class is not going to start that day. So generally, I will inform you. So it has never happened, but you never know. Like something can come up very urgent or some medical issues. So don't wait indefinitely. Okay. And few tips which I always give to the other students already know, who are existing students here. Okay. So one is that to gain a good understanding of the course, you need to solve a lot of problems. Because while solving the problem, you will understand the nuances of the different topics. So try to solve as many problems as possible. Not only the problems that I give to you, don't just read the solution of the problems. Try to tackle the problems on your own and then see the solution. Okay. Similarly, we will be trying to solve a few problems in the class, but the time is very limited and these problems are quite long. May take half an hour, 1 hour to solve in each problem. So we cannot go through very large number of problems in the class, but we will try our best within the limited time, because the syllabus is very extensive. So, and it's a 3 credit course instead of a 4 credit course. So we only have 3 lecture hours. You can practice additional problems. You can take problems from any of the books and try to solve them. Then the second part is that you can try to write some simple programs. Later on, we will see how to do that, to analyze these different cycles, different types of cycles, because it is possible here. Unlike steam power plants, it is possible to write programs because everything is based on ideal gas laws. And any modifications also we can take into account, like the CP changes, that also can be easily incorporated in the code. So we can write small programs to actually analyze very realistically, like a real life scenario, what is the effect of different parameters. It will give you a feel of how the industry works. Another important point that I always stress is that in my courses, you should not think in terms of memorization. Okay. So say there is a question like this, very popular question is there. The number of stages of compressor is much larger than the number of stages of turbine in a gas turbine plant for the same pressure ratio. What is the reason? So you can memorize, you can just read about it and memorize, but it will not give you a good understanding of why this is happening. But if you think conceptually, you don't even need to know the answer. But just connecting the dots, you will be able to find the actual answer. So if you think about what happens to the pressure ratio, whatever, I will come to this question later, obviously, in the course. I'm just giving an example. If you think what happens to the pressure ratio, what happens to the flow, like pressure gradients and stuff, you will be able to come up with the correct answer. So there are hundreds of examples like this. And in the classes, we will have a lot of conceptual discussion. So you should also try to develop that mindset of thinking conceptually instead of rote memorization. Okay? Like why something happens, you should ask yourself why this is happening, why it is there. Okay? Why not like this? Why the turbine blades are increasing in length? Why this is happening? A lot of interesting questions can be asked. Okay. And the final point is that you should be very careful about silly mistakes and units. Okay. Generally, I am very liberal while grading. For silly mistakes, I don't deduct too much marks. But when you go to actual industries, you will find that life is completely different there. Silly mistakes can have large consequences. For example, if a civil engineer designs a bridge and makes a silly mistake and the bridge collapses, it can lead to very large consequences, right? Similarly, so we have to be very careful about silly mistakes and units. So we should not be complacent there because small mistakes can lead to large consequences. I one example, famous example is there. There was a Mars orbiter which was built by NASA. Mars orbiter means a satellite which will orbit around Mars and take data, collect data from there. Okay, like our Mangalyaan. So, and it was designed in partnership with Lockheed Martin, which is an aerospace company. And there was some misunderstanding. One group was using imperial units or British units, and the other group was using SI units. Okay, and because of this miscommunication, there was a mistake in the calculation. As a result, the orbiter actually malfunctioned and crashed, and it led to a loss of I forgot the exact value, but hundreds of millions of dollars because of this small mistake. Only because the units were not correctly taken into account while doing the calculations, and it just escaped their scrutiny also because one group was working on. They thought that all the calculations are like this. Other group was working on another set of units. So you have to be very careful. So it can lead to large consequences. In real life, like when you work in companies, you cannot make this type of mistakes. In an exam sheet, you can make mistakes, escape, but we need to. So that habit needs to be inculcated. Any questions? Otherwise, we will just start with a few introduction slides so that you are in the same page with the students who have already done the first hour of the course. Questions? No questions. Okay. So in the first hour, I was just giving a brief introduction to the various applications of gas turbines and gas turbines. Can you see my slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So these are also uploaded in the portal. So don't have to worry about them. So gas turbines, as you know, are widely used for jet aircrafts, right? Jet propulsion. Any aircraft that you take, even if there is a propeller in front, that is also a jet engine because it is like a turboprop engine. And large aircrafts are like turbofan engines. We will discuss this, what this means. But all aircraft propulsion mostly nowadays are built on jet engines. Okay. So one of the most important areas for working on gas turbines is for jet engines, and many companies in India actually work on this. So as I was saying, GE, Rolls-Royce, Boeing, all of them have multiple teams working on different aspects. One team may be working on the turbine blade manufacture. One team may be working on turbine blade cooling. One team will be doing CFD analysis of flow in the combustion chamber. Another team will be working on the reaction in the combustion chamber using CFD. Then compressor design, flow through the compressor blades using CFD. Then thermodynamic calculation, cycle level calculation, everything like there are large groups of teams. Like GE Aviation itself is a very large department with like thousands of people working in it. Similarly, Rolls-Royce and other companies also have presence in India. Okay. So this is one of the very important areas. The other important area is power generation. Okay. So as you know, power generation at very large scale takes place with the help of thermal power plants. Till today, thermal power plants are the main source of power if it is a very large scale requirement, like in the order of gigawatts. So thermal power plant here means both coal-fired steam power plants as well as nuclear oil-fired steam power plants and nuclear power plants. Okay, all of them work on the same principle that some steam is generated and which is used to run the steam turbine. So only the heat source is different. For coal, it is coal power plants, it is coal. For oil power plants, it's oil, and for nuclear power plants, it's the nuclear energy. Otherwise, in principle, they are same. The cycles are same. So they are very efficient at very large scale, but they have certain drawbacks. The main drawback is that they have a lot of thermal inertia. Thermal inertia means that if there is a sudden load fluctuation, it will take a large amount of time for their output to change as per the requirement. So say during daytime, suddenly a lot of industries are actually require power during daytime. At night, they do not require power. So there is a sudden change in power. Okay. So power requirement. So as a result, the power output also should change. Otherwise, the efficiency will get affected because a lot of power will be wasted. A lot of fuel will be wasted in generating unnecessary power. So to change the output, there are mechanisms like governors in steam turbines, which slows down the speed of the turbine, reduces the amount of steam flowing through it. Okay. But because these are very large devices, to make any changes, it takes a lot of time. Okay. On the other hand, for gas turbines, which operate at a somewhat lower power range of 100 to 200 megawatt, so they have very fast response times. Okay. Because there you don't have like large furnace and other things. You just have combustion chamber. You change the amount of fuel that is injected, and power will change. Okay. So response is very fast, like IC engine. We know that if we increase the throttle in your bike, like if you twist the accelerator handle, then suddenly the power will increase in a few seconds. Okay. So gas turbines also can respond in a few minutes, unlike thermal power plants, which take many hours actually for starting the power plant to get everything up to speed. Gas turbines can also start very quickly. Okay. So the main advantages of gas turbines in power generation is that they can start very quickly in a few minutes, unlike few hours which are required for thermal power plants, and they can also respond to quick load changes. So because of this, sometimes they are used as an additional component in large thermal power plants. So the main load is still generated by the main power is still generated by the steam turbine, but to cater to the extra variations, load fluctuations on top of the steam turbines, and in addition to the steam turbine, there are gas turbines which takes into care, so it takes care of the small fluctuation in power. Okay, so that is also another application. Then they are also used when in some remote location when power generation is required, like offshore oil plants or oil rigs, where you don't have the power supply from the grid. You need to generate your own power. So either diesel engines can be used, diesel generators, or gas turbines can be used. So apart from these two main applications, there are some other applications where gas turbines are used. As I was mentioning, in offshore oil rigs, they are used for running the drill as well as for other power requirements. Okay. Some ships also use gas turbines, although most of the ships generally use diesel engines, large diesel engines, and some military ships will use nuclear plants. There are few ships which have been developed with gas turbine. Okay. Another important area is military applications like tanks, which use some tanks use gas turbine. All helicopters also use gas turbines. Okay, so I have not put any picture here, but all helicopters also use gas turbines to run they run the propeller. Then apart from this actual applications, there have been some experimental applications, like to break the speed of like land speed record or things like that. So for example, you can see a very exotic type of bike which uses a gas turbine. You can see it's a gas turbine is there. with this is the intake side. And why these are used? Because they have a very good power to weight ratio. The main advantage of gas turbine is that for a given amount of weight, the power generated is very high as compared to IC engines. IC engines like diesel or petrol engines. Okay, so for the same weight, you will be able to generate much larger power using a gas turbine, although they will be more costly. So when the cost is not a matter, but you want to generate large power to actually break some speed record or something, gas turbines have been used for experimental development, like shown here, and they have been also used for some land vehicles when you want to break the speed record. Do any of you know what is the maximum speed that has been attained on land? Like a vehicle with tires and not rails, but vehicles with tires and on land. Any idea?
So 1200 kilometer per hour.
Yes, correct. Good. So it's a very high speed, right? It has broken the sound barrier. Thrust SSC has broken the sound barrier in the 1990s, and it used gas turbines, jet engines. Okay, so jet engines which are based on gas turbines. So aircraft engines were used for designing that vehicle. And you can imagine the kind of speed. Means on land means so much resistance is there. Still, it could go to that kind of speed. It's a very difficult task. And this type of things also have been developed. Okay. So from this part, so in the next class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start discussing about the components of the gas turbine, just to give you a feel of how a gas turbine works, what are the important things, how they are put together, so that when we go to the cycle design, you know actually how they are related to real life components. So this we will anyway discuss these slides later again when we go to the individual components towards the end of the course. But my initial idea is just to give you a brief glance of these various aspects of turbine, so that you get a feel of what is going on, so that we are not blindly just doing the mathematics. Okay. So you will know how the stages look like, how the blades look like, things like that. So this part I have not discussed for the other students also. We'll start this from the next class and we'll see like different aspects like compressors, turbines, things like that. Okay. So I will stop here today. Any questions? So you should always keep on studying the material. Don't wait for the last minute. Okay, and try to practice as much as possible. I will stop the recording.